They told you life is hard. They didn't tell you the hardest part would be waking up every day and going to war with yourself. You know this war. You know this war. You feel it before you even get out of bed. The alarm goes off. One part of you wants to rise, to build, to move with purpose. Another part whispers, 5 more minutes. You're tired. You deserve rest. You already know how that story usually ends. You are not losing because you were stupid. You are not losing because you were cursed. You are losing because you treat this like a bad mood instead of what it really is, a battlefield. Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War for generals and emperors, men who faced steel, fire, and blood. But if you read him deeply, you see something else. He isn't just talking about war out there. He is describing how conflict itself works, how power moves, how deception wins, how chaos can be turned into advantage. Turn that lens inward and something brutal appears. The most important war you will ever fight is not against a boss, a rival, a government, or a market. It is against the part of you that would rather stay comfortable than become powerful. Sun Tzu, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Carl Jung. Generals of war, emperors of empire, philosophers of endurance, explorers of the unconscious. The second principle, the art of the invincible. Every serious war begins with intelligence, maps, reconnaissance, reports. You cannot fight smoke. You cannot defeat an army you only describe as vibes, bad habits, or that's just how I am. You must name your enemies. Inside you, they come in familiar forms. One of them is procrastination. Not simple laziness, something sharper. Procrastination is often fear in disguise. Fear of failing and seeing the truth. Fear of succeeding and being seen. Fear of starting and discovering you are not who you imagined. So you avoid the battlefield. You call it later. You say, I work better under pressure, and you dress cowardice up as strategy. Another enemy is emotional reactivity. You feel attacked, so you respond instantly. You get a message you don't like, so you fire back with anger. Someone disrespects you, and you throw away a long-term plan just to win a 5-minute argument. This is how empires fall. Not from outside invasion, but from rulers who cannot rule themselves. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He ruled Rome while plague spread, while wars raged, while politics twisted around him. In his private notes, he reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wasn't posting quotes. He was correcting himself. Then there is comfort addiction. You think pain is your enemy. It isn't. Comfort is. The quiet reflex to choose what feels good now over what makes you strong later. The phone instead of the book. The snack instead of the plan. The show instead of the work. The endless scrolling instead of the hard silence where you would have to face yourself. Sun Tzu would call this a demoralized army. Troops soft from idleness, unable to march long or fight hard. Another enemy, approval dependency. You claim you want to be free, but you are a servant to other people's opinions. You shape your behavior around likes, praise, and invisible approval. You censor your choices based on the imagined judgment of people you barely know. Nietzsche called this the morality of the herd, a life built not from inner law, but from outer pressure. And then there is shadow sabotage, the deepest cut. This is the part of you that believes, at a level beneath words, I am not meant to win. I am not worthy of stability, love, or respect. I am the one who fails. So whenever your life begins to stabilize, whenever things start to work, you feel uneasy. This is too good. This is not me. So you obey that voice. You pick a fight. You skip the work. You go back to the addiction. You break what was finally starting to heal. Then you say, see, this is just who I am. No, that is who you have been. It is not who you must remain. Jung would call this a complex, an unconscious knot of emotion and belief that acts like a hidden personality. Sun Tzu would call it an enemy force operating behind your lines. If you do not find it, if you do not understand how it moves, it will keep burning your supplies in the dead of night. You will wake up among ashes and call it fate. So your first act as a general is this. You write an intelligence report. You sit down with a page and you list the 3 to 5 behaviors that cost you the most in time, money, respect, or peace. You ask yourself, when do they show up? What triggers them? What excuse does my mind use each time? You stop calling it my mood. You start calling it pattern. Intelligence is not emotional. It is clear. These are my enemies. This is how they move. The third principle, the hierarchy of command. Once you see that, you face the next truth. Inside you is a soldier, and inside you is a commander. The soldier feels raw, immediate. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm tired. I'm scared. I want this now. Those impulses are not the problem. They are signals. The disaster happens when every signal arrives as law. Anger rises, you attack. Fear rises, you run. Lust rises, you chase. Creep, you disappear. The soldier has taken the throne. The general has vanished. The Stoics spent their lives trying to prevent this. Epictetus taught, it is not events that disturb you. It is your judgment about them. In other words, you are not responsible for the first wave. You are responsible for what you do with it. The soldier reports. The general decides. The next time a strong emotion surges, refuse to act instantly. Take a breath and say quietly to yourself, an impression has arrived. This is not a command. That line creates space. In that space, you recover authority. The soldier says, I feel humated. The general replies, noted, but our long-term mission is bigger than this bruise. We will not throw our strategy away for this moment. Each time you do this, you win a tiny battle. And every war is won or lost in tiny battles. The fourth principle, winning before the fight. Sun Tzu speaks of victory without direct fighting, winning before the clash even begins. He writes, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Applied to your inner life, this means stop trusting last-minute willpower. You cannot expect yourself to beat 10 years of habit with 10 seconds of courage while the temptation stares you in the face. If your phone is glowing beside you, full of engineered distractions, and your work sits quietly in another tab, you are trying to win standing in the open beneath enemy arrows. If your kitchen is a trap of sugar and junk, and you say, I'll be disciplined when I'm hungry, You are marching your army into a swamp. The issue is not your heart. The issue is your position. Position decides everything. In Sun Tzu's world, that meant hills, rivers, choke points, death ground. In your world, it means your environment, your routines, your rules. Winning before you fight looks like this. You put your phone in another room when it's time for deep work. You remove the worst food from your house so you cannot accidentally eat it. You decide your rules in advance. At 6 in the morning, I work. At this time, I train. When I'm angry, I wait before replying. I don't doom scroll before noon. You don't write these rules in the heat of temptation. You write them in calm, like a general in a war room. Then, when the weaker parts of you cry, "I don't feel like it," you don't renegotiate. You answer, "We already decided." Feelings do not overturn orders. Most people try to invent rules in the middle of battles. They improvise under fire. They lose. You move the decision from the battlefield to the strategy table. That is what it means to win before you fight. The fifth principle, the single front strategy. Another mistake, trying to open every front at once. You tell yourself, "I will fix my body, my mind, my money, my relationships, my career, my self-esteem, all this month." It sounds powerful. It is not. It is how you lose everywhere. No general spreads his army thin on every front. If you defend everything, you defend nothing. Think in campaigns. Ask yourself, what is the one internal enemy that is costing me the most right now? If I weakened it over the next 90 days, what would change? Is it distraction? Constant scrolling and split focus? Is it emotional chaos, explosions, breakdowns, fragile peace? Is it comfort addiction, never doing the hard thing if there is an easy one available? Is it fear of judgment, refusing to move because they might not approve? Pick one. That is your primary front. For the next months, your best energy, your clearest planning, your strongest discipline, go there. If distraction is your main war, you redesign your life around it. Notifications off, apps deleted or blocked, fixed hours of work where nothing else is allowed. Suddenly, you reclaim hours. You feel time open. That time becomes new troops you can deploy to other fronts. Victory on one front creates momentum. This is how real empires expand, from one secured position to the next. The sixth principle, tactical deception. Sun Tzu also wrote, "All warfare is based on deception." We usually hear that and think of lies told to others, but there is a deeper level. You can use deception against your own lower self. Your primitive brain does not care about your 5-year plan. It cares about pain and pleasure right now. So you do not stand there giving it lectures. You outmaneuver it. You tell it, "We're not doing 3 hours of work. We're just opening the document for 5 minutes." You tell it, "We're not doing a full workout. We're just putting on shoes and walking into the gym." You start small, so resistance stays quiet. Once your body is in motion, momentum takes over. You also pair pain with reward. You only allow your favorite podcast when you're lifting weights. You only drink that special coffee while doing deep work. Your brain begins to associate effort with pleasure. You are not begging your lower self to love discipline. You are rewiring its instincts. And then, identity, the deepest level of all. I'm trying. I'm working on it. These are weak identities. Instead, I am a disciplined person. I am in command of my mind. I am a soldier of my own cause. You speak to yourself not as someone begging to change, but as someone enforcing who they already are becoming. Jung would say you are feeding new patterns into the unconscious. Sun Tzu would say you are turning scattered troops into a real army.
The seventh principle, fortifying the terrain. All of this happens within terrain. Your room, your desk, your phone, your social circle, your food, your media. If your environment is a shrine to distraction and decay, do not be surprised when your mind worships there. If your friends are aimless, unserious, fearful of effort, do not be surprised when you adopt their speed. If your body is wrecked, no sleep, no movement, junk fuel, your willpower will be a flickering light. You are sending soldiers to fight in mud, without armor, without food. The Roman legions did not live that way. Their camps were ordered, every tent in its place, every weapon on its rack, discipline in the smallest details. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by sickness, betrayal, and war, returned again and again to his inner camp. His book, Meditations, was his own war journal. He used it to remember who he was supposed to be when the world tried to make him something else. You must do the same. Look around your life and ask, what here belongs in the old empire, the empire of my weakness? What here belongs in the new one? You clear your space. You place symbols of your mission where your eyes land. You limit access for people who drain you. You design your environment as carefully as a battlefield. The eighth principle, the alliance with darkness. And while you shape the outside, you also face the truth inside. Your darkness is not just a threat, it is potential power. That anger you fear, that hunger for more, that desire to be seen, to be respected, to be significant. If you suppress it, it turns against you. If you acknowledge it, you can aim it. Jung called this shadow integration. You are not here to become harmless. You are here to become dangerous in a controlled direction. Your anger can be turned into clean, consistent action, into boundaries that end abuse, into refusal to stay small. Your envy can show you what you truly want. The lives you resent are often mirrors showing you what you desire, but do not yet dare to build. Your desire for recognition can push you to become genuinely excellent, so that respect is a byproduct of real value, not something you beg for. The key is honesty. No more pretending. I'm not angry. I don't care about success. I'm fine with average. Say what is true inside your own mind. Then ask, how can I use this? How can this desire serve my highest strategy instead of destroying it?
The ninth principle, the rhythm of review. From there, you need rhythm. A war is not won in a single charge. It is won in days, weeks, months of relentless pattern. In the morning, before the world takes you, you sit in your war room. You review. This is my main enemy right now. This is how it tried to attack yesterday. You choose 3 victories, not 30, 3. 3 concrete actions that, if done today, would move your campaign forward. You reaffirm your rules, your non-negotiables. You are not hoping the day will be kind. You are telling it how it will go. During the day, you move like a strategist. You do not blindly fuse with every mood. You watch. You feel anger rise and you name it. You feel fear creep in and you say, "This is fear, not a prophecy." You treat each old habit you resist as a win, even if the win is small. You adjust your terrain on the fly. If you notice yourself slipping into distraction, you close the tab, change the room, reset your focus. At night, you debrief. Not with self-hatred, not with pity, but with the cool eye of a general. Where did I win? Why did I win there? Where did I lose? What was I thinking, feeling right before I fell? What can I change tomorrow, in my environment, in my schedule, in my rules, to improve my position? One change, not 10. This is how real armies grow stronger. Not through motivation, but through review and adjustment. You will still fall. You will still have days where you binge on comfort, where you lash out, where you disappear. That does not make you hopeless. It makes you human. What decides your path is what you do after. You can collapse into a story. I always fail. This is just who I am. I'll never change. If you choose that, you hand your flag to the enemy. Or you can return to the map, to the notebook, to the quiet. You can say, they broke through here. Fine. We learn, we reinforce, we go again. Sun Tzu, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Jung, none of them promised a life without struggle. What they offer you is the chance to become someone who does not shatter when struggle comes. The 10th principle, the general's decree. At some point, you must stop treating this war as an accident and start treating it as your duty. You are not just a passenger of your moods. You are not just your past. You are not just your conditioning. You are the one who can decide to become the general. The one who studies his own mind like terrain. The one who names his inner enemies without flinching. The one who shapes his environment with intention. The one who calls his shadow out of hiding and says, "You fight for me now." Most people will never do this. They will remain soldiers taking orders from fear, from habit, from other people. They will call it being realistic. They will worship comfort and call it happiness. Let them. You are not here to be dragged by the current. You are here to command. And command begins with a declaration. So fix this line in your mind. I am the general of my mind. I win the war within. Say it slowly. Let it sink in. Write it where you can see it. Not because words alone will save you, but because every war begins with a line you will not cross. If you choose this path, you are not choosing ease. You are choosing clarity. You are choosing the hard work of awareness over the soft death of denial. You are choosing to walk into the chaos of your own mind with your eyes open. Sun Tzu taught rulers how to win the wars of empires. Turn his wisdom inward, and he teaches you how to win the only war that truly decides your life. Win the inner war, and the outer world will have no choice but to rearrange itself around who you have become.